there, I'm Cherie.
And I'm Chris, and we're known online as Technomadia.
And what you're about to watch is one of our live video chats. This is an archive of a live broadcast that was interactive with some of our viewers.
So this is not a produced thing. We don't use microphones, we don't do editing, we don't have a script in advance. So if you're looking for that, change the channel.
But what we do is every month is we pick a topic, we talk on about it, and we take questions. And it's a really fun way. If you'd like to join one of our future live video chats, you can do so. Go check it out at technomadia.com/video. And also check out the other videos in this playlist. We have a whole bunch of other topics that we've covered over the years.
Yeah,
so who are we?
Chris and Cherie, Technomadia.
And we've been on the road since 2006, traveling full-time via RV, presently in a vintage bus conversion, and we work remotely as we go. And we just like sharing a little slice of our lives. So here we go.
Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Cherie.
I'm Chris.
And we're Technomadia.
We live in a bus. We've been on the road for 10 years, traveling around the country, and for some reason we started doing like random little bits of video, and then people seem to like it. So here we are.
Yeah, we started doing these, I think, 4 years ago or so. It just started very casual, kind of off the cuff, and it's just become something that we found we really enjoy doing these. We get the interaction, we get some Q&A, we get to talk about topics that we might not have the energy to write a blog post on, but we're happy to talk about. This evening's topic is attending an RV rally. We're not rally people, but somehow
we've been to a lot of them.
And we keep going to them for some odd reason.
And we get asked all the time from people, particularly people new to hitting the road, is should I go check these rallies out? Or people who've been on the road for a long time saying, I've never checked out a rally, what's it like? So
we thought we'd share a little bit.
Yeah.
We did, from the last rally that we're at the end of July, we went to the 56 Escapade in Burlington, Vermont, Essex Junction. And we did do a 1-hour live cast from there, walking around. If you want to go check that out, I'll put a link to the blog post that's related to that. And you can kind of get a feeling for what a rally is like. But today we're going to be talking about the rallies and what to prepare for them and how to survive them, as we're introverts. We may not appear that way on screen, but we are very big introverts.
That's why we're on screen. We're
not
a lot of glass. We just see a little chat box going by.
All right. So first of all, what is a rally? You can answer. I'm asking questions, you're answering.
A rally, okay. In the RV sense, a rally is just a lot of RVs coming together for usually some sort of stated purpose, even if that purpose is just to come together. Sometimes that's the only reason the rallies are happening, is let's all get together in one place and RV together.
So there's some that are hosted by some of the big national companies like FMCA, Good Sam, and our favorite, the Escapees.
Mm-hmm.
But each kind of have their own flavor, their own take on it.
Their own requirements to attend sometimes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you be a member, what type of vehicle you can have. We like the Escapees because their Escapade is geared towards RVing as a lifestyle, whether you're full-timers, seasonal,
or most-timers.
Or most-timer. Yeah. It's geared towards the lifestyle of RVing, not any particular type of RV.
And Good Sam is geared towards selling stuff to people who camp on weekends, and FMCA is geared
towards
in the past people who have big coaches.
But they are it sounds like they're going to be opening up to other types here soon.
Yeah.
Those rallies can pull in anywhere from 500, 2,000, in the heyday, even 5,000 people rigs at one of these RVs. So they're huge.
RVs as far as the eye can see.
There's also regional ones. So there are chapters within each of these organizations that might host one. Maybe they're like the Southeast
Udahani's or whatever. It's like the Roll Tiders and the this and thaters and the Road Runners, and there's so lots and lots of smaller groups of each one of these big national groups. They have their own smaller rallies, a lot of times as pre or post rallies to the big national ones. And
if you look at their list, like if you remember, the Escapees are always published in their magazine. You can route your travels around them to go attend them, and those tend to be smaller. They might have 25, 50, 100 coaches at them, and for an introvert, it's a lot easier to be accessible in those.
Yeah. But on the other hand, for an introvert, a lot of the smaller ones, they're the same people have been getting together, in some cases 20, 30 years. And, you know, sometimes unless you already have some sort of in, it can be really hard to show up as the stranger there. Whereas the big rallies are very welcoming to newbies because there's a lot of newbies there.
That too, but I found that the smaller rallies we've been to, people go out of their way
because
to be welcoming.
we always have an in. We always know somebody first.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. I
Yes.
mean, people usually know us.
Yes, well,
We do
okay.
have an unfair advantage
Yes.
with that. There's also ones that are not associated with any of those big organizations. It might be regional. They might be special interests. Like we go to a lot of bus conversion rallies around the country in our travels.
And there's rallies for a lot of the big brands or types of rigs, like the Montana owners or the Holiday Ramblers and stuff. And they get together in those. You might think, oh, well, what am I going to have in common? All we have in common is the same coach. And it's like, yes, and the same mechanical problems and the same issues with routing wires and all. So you might not have anything in common with the people who come to get those rallies other than swapping an immense amount of tips. So very useful.
And you might find that the reasons why you selected your coach might mean you have something in common with someone else who selected the same type of coach. It tends to be like minds tend to flock together. Festivals are another interesting type of RV rally. These aren't specifically RV rallies, but they're other events that have lots of RV parking. And those might be music festivals, Oshkosh, the big fly-in, or the EAA fly-in.
Yeah, ridiculously huge, more RVs than you could possibly imagine there.
It was fun. We've been to that once. Burning Man and Burning Man regional events.
Yeah. And then a lot of sporting events.
Car races.
NASCAR becomes is huge for RVing, if you're into that. And some musical festivals also welcome RVers as well and have big RV party sections and camp out sections and stuff.
There's also RV shows that happen around the country, like the big Tampa Super Show, the one in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Well, they may not have on-site RV parking. A lot of the RV parks around them do, and it kind of feels like an RV rally at those.
And there a lot of people are there just hoping to find what's their next rig. Are they going to upgrade? Looking for interesting shot things to shop for to add to their current rigs too. So it's a different kind of rally, but interesting.
And then our favorite kind is what we call convergences. And as we start talking more about rallies and what goes on at them, you'll kind of get a feeling for why we like them. After going to a couple rallies, we started hosting them ourselves. And these are saying, hey, we're going to be camped in, say, Cedar Key, Florida. We did this a couple years ago. And we got a 2-month monthly spot. And if anyone wants to join us, come join us. Stay for a day, stay for a month. Whatever,
no set schedule, nothing on the agenda, no special attendance fees, and then just stuff happens organically, and we really like that.
Someone might put out to a group, say, hey, tonight let's do a potluck, or hey guys, let's have a campfire, and I'd really like to pick people's brains about working on the road or domicile.
The next night it might be, hey, we're doing a pub crawl, there's an interesting band in town.
We're going to do an outdoor movie night, and there's some really fun things. And that's kind of what we imparted into the Escapers group, which is part of the Escapees RV Club, who hosts a big rally. Is a lot of us working on the road people going to a big rally is like taking vacation. We can't really work from them. And that's one of the things we brought up to the organization. And so the Escapers is taking the stance more of convergences, which are longer and less scheduled. So
less stuff happening from 8 a.m. till 7 p.m.
nonstop. So you might have 1 or 2 seminars during the whole event, but they're more for people who are living in a neighborhood together than necessarily at an event together. So we like convergences.
Yeah, but we aren't rally people, but we've actually had a really good time at a few of them.
Yep, we really made the best of them. Now, how do you go about finding rallies? If you go into any of the RV forums, groups, you pay attention to newsletters or magazines that you might be subscribers to of any of these organizations. They'll be announced there. I put in the show notes, there's a comment over there, and I'll put a link into the archive to an RV club site that seems to be listing a lot of the RV rallies.
And probably the best way to find out about rallies and to go to your first one, though, is go find a friend who's going to a rally and that they enjoy and tag along. And
that's what we did.
Yeah, that's how we got hooked into our first of the big rallies, and we're like, okay, well, we'll do another one and another one. Then we discovered the Escapees, and we're like, oh, we actually like the Escapees.
Yep.
So
we've been to
tag along.
We've not done a Good Sam yet, but we've done most of the others.
Yes.
So why go to a rally? We keep saying we're not RV rally people, but why do we keep going?
There's a lot not to like about rallies.
We'll get into that first, but why? What is to like?
Well, but it kind of goes hand in hand. It's like, the first time you go, it's all new. So that's a really good reason to go, is just to experience all this stuff for the first time. But then when you go to your second rally and third rally, it's the same stuff again. Then you're like, it becomes the reasons not to go, but you find new reasons to keep going. So so it kind of goes hand in hand.
So the first one thing I like a lot about it is just the concentration of people. It is a wonderful opportunity to meet all the people that you might be interacting with on blogs, on forums, and groups. a lot of them are going too. So there's the social opportunity to meet a lot of people in one place and kind of get to know, hey, these are people I'd like to meet up with again in a less chaotic experience. And so we've met a lot of great friends at these rallies. Vendors.
That's one of the things that the first time you go, it's like, oh wow, all these vendors. I've never seen so many ShamWows and grill mats in my life, and I didn't know you could do that with cleaning polish to wax without water, and all sorts of stuff for RVs, or maybe that they think people in RVs might be tempted to buy. And that's great. And the first time you're there, you can go have a little shopping spree, but then it's the same vendors at every rally and the same grill mats and a lot of the same stuff over and over again. So you've got to, don't necessarily get too excited about the vendors going every time.
But it is kind of good. It's a good way to see what's out on the market, what might be out there. And if you're looking for like a tire pressure monitoring system, there might be 20 of them at a rally in the vendor floor, and you can go compare them and get hands-on time with them.
But on the other hand, there might be 2 of them with 5 different vendors selling them, so you can kind of pit them against each other because they're selling the exact same thing across the aisle from each other. But a lot of times, some of the best options aren't there at the rally, so you still have to go home and do your own homework and not just buy what's there in front of you with the show special.
Yeah, I don't recommend buying a new product category that you're not previously used to or haven't really investigated at a rally. Is good ideas there to shop for it. You can usually find the products later, either from the vendor that you saw there or on Amazon, sells most everything. Maintenance. A lot of the general maintenance companies that service RVers will go to the larger rallies. Like we always get our Blue Ox towing bar for our Mini Cooper serviced at rallies.
Blue Ox goes to most of the events. They always go to the Escapade events, and was it
30 bucks.
30 bucks. $30, you describe your RV, give your license plate, and then they'll have their roving technicians come do a full maintenance, replace all the bushings and everything, and make your Blue Ox as good as new. So money very well spent to go to a rally. The FMCA rally in particular brings a lot of the coach chassis manufacturers, so you'll have Freightliner and Cummins and the engine people and stuff, and they will be there, and you can actually talk to engineers from the factory and have consultations and factory service done at the rally. And so a lot of people go way out of their way to the big FMCA rallies just for the coach chassis maintenance.
At our last Escapade, we got our Blue Ox service. We also did the Smart Weigh system. We had our RV weighed on each corner, so on each wheel, so that we knew exactly how we were doing with our tire pressure and everything else like that. There's usually some mobile mechanics there. Maybe
window chip repair.
Yeah, we had a chip repaired on a windshield one year. Awning replacement companies are usually there. You can, if you've got your awnings are falling apart, you can usually have them replaced on site. So there's all sorts of things that you can do. Just get in line like on first day of the expo floor to make sure you get on the list, because they will fill up.
Right. Yeah, that is a very important tip, and there will be people lined up right when the show floor opens to get on the vendor lists or the maintenance lists.
So another reason to go is usually there's tons and tons of seminars going on at these rallies. You're going to look at the list and you're going to say, oh, I want to go learn about this and that and that and this, and I need like 6 people to go to them all and record them all.
Usually 4 or 5 going on at one time.
And they're going to be on topics, everything from mobile technology to RV maintenance, to RV lifestyle, sorts of topics. But the one thing that you really need to look at is, in order for these shows to entice vendors in, is they give them a seminar spot. And a lot of these shows, they don't pay presenters. How do we know this? We've been them.
Yes.
They don't pay presenters, so the incentive that they give presenters to come in is that they give them a spot in the vendor floor so they can sell their wares, which means that their seminars,
some of them,
can be on the edge between being educational and a sales pitch.
Yes.
And I get really tired of that myself.
Here's the problem, here's how we solve the problem, and oh, by the way, come to our booth and we've got 20% off.
And they don't mention the other 60 ways to go about solving that same problem that they don't have the product to.
Yeah, the vendor presentations can be amusing. Sometimes we went to a Verizon one that was, here's how the things you can do on the internet with Verizon, and it was a presentation of things you can do on the internet.
Period.
It's like you could have erased the Verizon from it. It was like, really, you could send email. Okay.
Most vendors, especially those that have been to the shows for a long time, they do a really excellent job of not making them sales pitches, and we give them a lot of credit for that. But just keep that in mind, that most of them have an incentive to be there. The rallies that we've gone in, we have done like non-sales pitchy ones. We've just talked about working on the road and lifestyle. That the reason they can't get a lot of the informational ones in there is it costs money for someone to go to these rallies to put it on their schedule to drive there, and they need to have some sort of incentive to put that time into it and make those miles themselves. If the most you're getting is maybe comp the rally fee, it really takes a lot more to get someone to go there and present.
Yeah. And then, there are some people who do, when you start going to rallies, you'll see the same presenters and the same presentations over and over again from rally to rally and even from year to year, which becomes one of the things that becomes kind of tiresome of rallies. It's like, oh, it's the same guy talking about going to Alaska, same person talking about waxing your RV, same person talking about fire safety, and there's not really a ton of new presenter blood because of all the downsides that Sheree mentioned here.
Yeah, it's fun to present at the rallies. We really enjoyed it when we did it. We got to meet a lot of people. But for less effort, I can do one of these video chats. It takes us an hour or two to put it together. We upload it to YouTube, and we've got thousands and thousands of views, whereas we go way out of our way to go to a rally and present. We're paying our way to get there. And we might get 100, 150, 200 people into a room, and then the rest of the event, people are coming up and asking questions about our presentation because they couldn't go. Yep. I prefer the video. We reach a lot more people this way.
Absolutely.
It's a lot less stress for us. Okay, the other reason to go is just seeing a lot of RVs at once. There's usually a sampling of new RVs there that you can tour, even used ones, which is a good one to see.
Quite a few people make it their destination to go to an RV rally and trade in and drive home having moved into a new RV, and that happens every rally. You'll see somebody pulling out with something that is a new home to them.
Okay, so those are the reasons to go. Here are some of the downsides of a rally that make them a little less appealing, and why we usually regret going. Well, not regret.
We don't regret, but we usually are exhausted afterwards.
Or that we're, like this last one, we actually canceled twice before we went, just because of these reasons.
Yes.
The parking. Some of the closest parking you will ever experience as an RVer is at a rally.
An RV rally is like the worst commercial campground square. So they slot in rig after rig after rig, and then oftentimes they just pull big extension cords for power if you're in a powered section, and everybody's sharing these big giant 50 amp mega extension cords that they quickly put out the warnings like, don't use your air conditioner, don't use your water heater. Why are you getting power? Why are you paying extra for power if you can't actually use it?
A lot of the RVs, they will offer full hookup sites. There's usually only a limited number of them because these rallies are usually held at fairgrounds that might have a small campground on site, and then everything else is all temporary parking. So if you do need full hookups, make sure you reserve very early because those can sell out very quickly in most of these rallies.
And make sure that you understand what full hookups mean, because sometimes they might have a honey wagon truck is what they consider full hookups, and that you've got to make arrangements to have the honey wagon coming in, pump you out every day if you really want that. And they might have water, but you might have to have a hose that's 100 feet long, and all sorts of other things. So be prepared for very unusual, sometimes uncomfortable hookups, or you might be in the dry camping section.
We usually like dry camping, and we dry camp most places we can go if there's an option. Not just because it's cheaper, just because we're set up for it. But just realize that some rallies are good at separating out the solar dependent people and the generator dependent people, but some of them, they don't. A lot of the parking staff are volunteers. Some are very good. Some may not have gotten the coordination down. So it's very possible that even if you are solar dependent and you don't need to turn your generator on the entire time, you could be parked next to 3 people that are running their generators pretty much every generator hour there is. How do we know? That was our experience at Escapade.
Yeah, and also, actually, even if you pay for hookups, sometimes the way they provide the AC power for a lot of these big areas is they'll set up a big giant trailer-sized generator and run it 24/7 to provide power. So you're paying for hookups, and you still might be camped next to a big giant generator. The big generators tend to be pretty quiet, but you're certainly not going to sleep with your windows open and relax.
That's just one of the, it comes with the territory, is don't expect it to be tranquil. Dry camping, boondocking does not mean out in the wild camping at a rally. The pace at a rally is very hectic. You're going to look at the schedule. There's going to be things starting at 7 a.m., usually yoga or line dancing or stretching or devotional
coffee
sort of stuff,
or
donuts or
crafting, circle, and lots of stuff.
And then the first seminar is usually going to start at 8 o'clock in the morning. We always miss that one. And then they're going on all day into the afternoon. There may be other social stuff going on during the day. And then the evening, there's usually some sort of entertainment. that may be good, may be not, may not be your style, may not be. There's going to be happy hours happening all over the place, from little subgroups and organizations to spontaneous ones that happen.
You can't do it all. Don't try. Don't stress yourself too much.
Yeah, hectic pace. And we generally find that when we're going, if we're not there with an official representation and working ourselves, we're usually going into vacation mode. We make sure that our work projects, we're caught up. We don't have to work full time while
That
we're
never
there.
actually works, though. We
never get time off, really.
But
Okay. All right. So the good, the bad, we've been through that. Now you decide you want to go. Here's some tips for preparing to go.
yes. Do your shopping in advance. Come loaded with the food you need, and come with a full tank of water and empty dump tanks.
Yes. Even if you've got that full hookup site, don't count on the hookups necessarily being working when you get there, or that they might have periods of going down. So just come in prepared like you're going out to a boondocking spot, even if you have hookups paid for. If there is a dump station on site, there's usually 1 or 2, and there's a 2 or 3 hour line on the way out.
Sometimes there can be. So yeah, plan on that. Plan on maybe not dumping when you leave. Dump at your next spot when you arrive there.
Yeah, so we usually plan a campground beforehand where we take care of all the tanks and we come in just fresh and ready to go.
Now, a lot of rallies do let you pay an extra fee to stay a few days after, or even come a few days early, and that makes the leaving process a lot less stressful. You're not leaving in that huge tidal wave. You're not waiting an 8-hour line for the dump, or hour line for the dump. So pay an extra $25 or $50 and stay 2 days.
Yeah, and that's one of our tricks as introverts is I do a lot better if I can ramp up with the energy of an organization or of a big event instead of coming in while it's already in full swing. So we like to go in a day or 2 in advance so that we're part of that energy ramping up, and then we like to stay a couple days later so that we're not in the chaos of leaving. One of our little tricks. Okay, prepared for minimal electric. We already talked about the generators and coming in. That don't assume that just because you have a 30 amp hookup that you're actually going to have 30 amps available to you.
True.
At the one in Vermont, there was a really hot day, and the entire state of Vermont went down for the afternoon when everyone kicked on their air conditioners.
Yes.
Not just the fairgrounds, the entire state. Chris mentioned do your shopping in advance. I'm going to add in there that you should also shop for things that are going to be quick for you to prepare. Don't count on having the energy to do your normal food preparations. We usually get some healthy heat and eats. I love it when an event is held near a Trader Joe's and we can get some Trader Joe's stuff because that makes it so much easier for us. Look in advance of where the event is being held and what's around it. You'll probably find these fairgrounds are not always in locations near dining or shopping. So going out to dinner isn't necessarily easy. And those closest restaurants are going to be full of your rally companions.
Yep.
So definitely have some quick heat and eat sort of food that helps you feel healthy too.
And stuff that it also get stuff that's easy, portable snacks to take with you and share when you get invited to happy hours or you just want to go out and roam and stuff. Is have stuff that's easy and fun to share.
Yep. Have a happy hour bag too. You're going to get invited to hey, come over to my place, or we're having this here. If you have a bag that has 2 glasses for your preferred beverages, your beverage that you can carry with you, and some utensils and maybe some small plates for appetizers, and just have that ready to go in a bag so that you can go quickly to those. Yeah, that's one thing we sometimes forget. We need a bag. Escapees in particular, those veterans of those events.
They're ready for any happy hour. They got their quick deploy go
happy
bag.
Happy hour, Rambos or whatever. They got it down. Okay. Oh, and be prepared for lots of walking. These are huge fairgrounds.
And sometimes the camping spots can be yonder and then over the next hill. And they will have little golf cart shuttles and services and stuff, or we often ride our bikes and stuff to get in more central, but there can be a lot of walking back and forth and not necessarily through the best grounds. It might be like muddy old dirty roads and stuff, pass through lots of grassy field that has been now turned into a giant parking lot. So prepare for the walking.
All right, Nick and Jake, you ready? We're about to start our very last section. If you have questions about rallies or about RVing in general, this is the time to go ahead and start queuing those up in the chat box. Just type them in there, and then Nick and Jake will be capturing those and putting them into a shared document so we can answer them when we wrap up this section.
Okay.
Surviving a rally. as introverts particularly.
But and even extroverts who burn out, because that happens to extroverts sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Number one tip, don't attempt to do it all. You can't. It's just like traveling full time. You're not going to be able to see everything in the U.S.
And you'll have a lot of people who say, "Oh, come by, I want to show you something, come to my rig, come to my this, come to that." You will not be able to answer, and you will not be able to live up to all the invitations you agree to sometimes, because
Right.
it's too spread thin.
Yeah. Be very careful about overcommitting yourself at one of these things. Like, you'll get invitations to do this and do that, and we find, especially because most everyone knows us, is we had people back to like, "Oh, can I stop by the RV and get a tour?" You know? We just had
last day. We never want to give tours at a rally just because
it's a mess. I don't want to clean up.
Yes.
But yeah, we have to get in the habit of just politely saying we really appreciate the invitation, but we can't commit because things just, we like to leave it to serendipity for where we end up, and if we overcommit, then we just can't do it all, and then what happens if we're tired? I hate canceling on people.
Particularly if the canceling happens when they come over at a time they've scheduled
like,
and
"Oh
we're
my
exhausted
gosh."
and taking a nap. It's like, sorry, no.
Yeah, yeah, we're more of a go with the flow sort of people.
Right.
Take naps.
Yeah, do.
It is tempting sometimes to think, if you find an RV park nearby where the rally is, and then just commute in for some of the events during the day, that might be better. I find we're better
having our house there to retreat to.
And we consider it a retreat. We make it very clear, do not approach our bus when we're at rallies. Don't come knocking on our door. It is our private retreat. It is where we recharge at.
And we'll be out social later.
Yep. When we're out and about, come say hi to us. That's great. But don't come and knock on our door.
Yeah.
Because we're sleeping in. We might have been up late the night before. Or we just come back for a nap or some recharge time so that we can be really fully on at the rest of it.
And one of the ways to deal with this is to put a way out that people, like a whiteboard or a message board or stuff, so that people who do come by can leave you notes, and you can do the same for other people. Because sometimes you'll just be wandering by like, "Oh, that's X person's rig, and I want to let them know I'm here and give them a phone number and stuff." So have a way that people can knock on your door without knocking, very passively.
You.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we always try to leave out a message board or have a message box or something.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot because it makes it clear, yes, we do want to
meet you. We'll text you. Give us your number. We'll text you.
But we need our downtime too. And don't be afraid to take that time for yourself.
Absolutely.
And we like being able to just go back to RV for a little bit and be back right in with the event, because that is our focus, is concentrating on the event. Don't overbook yourself. Oh, before and after the event. Make sure you go in fully recharged, not just your batteries and water tanks. We try to find a campground or somewhere before the rally where we can just take a deep breath, go in, so we're not going in rushed. Maybe somewhere within less than an hour's drive, so we're not dealing with a big strenuous driving day to get in on our arrival day. And then we usually have something picked out afterwards to just go and hide. We just spent 2 weeks in hiding post-Escapade.
Catching up on work.
Catching up on life, and celebrating my birthday. And it was so good to know that we had this space where we could go and it not be in a campground. It was driveway surfing with some readers who were nearby, who very kindly invited us in to have this special recharge time. And it was amazing. We're still not fully caught up, but we're getting there.
Any other rally survival tips?
Take breaks. Ta-da.
When you go to the entertainment at night, stay near the back or near the sides so that you can sneak out if it turns into something that's not quite your style. But also open yourselves up to, you might have some new, interesting musical experience. So, yeah, go with that.
All right, so I am logging back into our shared document.
Does this mean it's time to open the wine?
You get to open the wine. I get to...
What's today's wine? Blood, Sweat, and Tears. That's fitting for rallies. This is from Southwind Vineyard. This is the Harvest Toast we did in New Jersey. An absolutely amazing place. Great Harvest Toast experience. And I think this might be our last bottle from there too.
No, we have one more.
Oh, good.
Yes,
they have good wine.
Very good. Just as a reminder, we do these as a gift to you. We welcome you to come in and join in on these and watch these. We don't have a motivation in doing these. But if you do appreciate them, please don't hesitate to say thank you. That really keeps us motivated to come back and do these again each month. Whether it's in YouTube comments to the live cast, and Facebook, or just writing us directly. Woo! That's our cork pop.
And if you don't enjoy this video, why are you still watching? And please go away.
Yeah.
Because really, we don't need to hear suggestions for better lights or better sound. We're playing around with it and working on it. We don't need the suggestions. We're having fun. If you're having fun, stay with us.
And if you really do appreciate these and you want to say an extra thank you to us, we like wine. And we do have a leave a tip button on the bottom of every page of technomadia.com where you can leave a tip from whatever you feel comfortable with. Those contributions, they go to fund things for the extras. We're not in this to cover the cost of running our blog. That's all our gift to you. But we do appreciate the extras and the gratitude for those that wish to share in that way. And we are toasting you tonight with our brand new Escapers glasses. These were given to us at the rally at the Escapade.
Yes.
And of course, you might know we helped launch the Escapers, something we're very proud of.
And it was really cool because this past Escapade was the first big Escapade with a subsection for the Escapers, and it was really neat to see
Other
that kind of
tip,
happening.
we didn't park with them. We just knew that was too much of a target for people to find us. So we.
Well, and just in general, yeah. If you don't have to park with your social group when you go to a rally. Sometimes you want to park way out in the as far away as you can. That's what your personality needs. Do it, or park with a little. We call them bubble people, like people that you can just
close
be really
friends
chill.
That we can just be ourselves with, and we can just say, "Oh,
Yes.
oh.
Cheers! Here's to bubble people,
and here's to the Escapers." So we're really, really proud of how the organization is growing. Doing really well. I think they now have over 3,000 members. That's 3,000 RVs who identify as working-aged RVers, and that's just incredible.
That's just still getting started too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
Wow.
Okay, let's get to the questions. And I'm going to do the off-topic ones in a little bit. Okay, how many days do you usually spend at a rally?
I guess a lot of the rallies are 5 days long often.
Yeah, the Escapade started officially on Sunday and ended on Thursday.
And a lot of rallies have pre and post things going on. So like at the Escapade, they have a RVers boot camp, which is really great for first timers and stuff to learn a lot of the basics. So like 2 or 3 full days of training. Afterwards, there's sometimes extra classes and stuff. There's the Doves, the Red Cross group, is doing disaster training afterwards. So there's stuff that extends a rally to either side.
Right. The Geeks on Tour, at a lot of these rallies, they also do some in-depth smartphone classes and photography classes and things like that. So, if there's other things you can do in advance. We like getting there a day or two early and staying a day or two late. So we're usually there somewhere between about a week.
Yeah. Longer is better for us.
Danielle asks, if you choose to park the rig far enough away and drive your Toad, will the parking be a nightmare or worth the drive? Like we said, we don't really like to do that just because we find it a lot easier to be present and follow serendipity and then just come back for recharges. We like having our house right there so that if we feel the need to retreat, we can retreat, but we're not really removing ourselves from the event.
Yeah, quite a few rallies do have day passes, and some people come in and they're just going to be there for a day and they have a mission. Like they're going to do 2 seminars and then hit the vendor floor and then go hit the RV lot and shop for an RV. And you can do that as like one really intense day. But if you're going to do more than 2 days, stay on site. It's going to make you much saner than going back and forth.
Mm-hmm. But if you are staying off site, try to get something as close by, because the driving, we don't like driving. Yeah. The parking can vary quite a bit. It just depends upon the fairgrounds and what they have available for parking. At this particular one, it didn't seem to be an issue, but other fairgrounds it has been, but they usually have it under control.
Yep.
What is a must see and do? I think we already went over this. Some of these questions might have been before we wrapped up. Margie asks, do the rallies typically have a theme?
I think some of the rallies kind of have like a general high level theme.
Usually, like the escapees, they tend to theme it to where, because they hold it in a different location every single year. Well, except for going forward, it's going to be in Tucson for every odd numbered year. Yep. So the theme is a little bit to the location. Like this one had a lot of lighthouses around because it was in Vermont.
Vermont lighthouses, but yeah, apparently there's
one
a lighthouse,
tiny
one
lighthouse
on
in Lake Champlain.
It's like, but yeah, so there's a little bit of theming going on. It's not much that we've ever noticed.
Mm-hmm. Martha asked, if the RVs are so close together, is the generator exhaust bad?
It can actually be, and one of the things that you can find in the vendor floor is the little generator chimneys for sale. And
maybe you
it
want to
might be
gift
a
your neighbor.
gift for your neighbor.
Yeah, we had because we had 3 solar people parked next with us, and then there was 1 generator dependent person right in between us. And every single morning, generator hours were at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
They would turn on their generator at precisely 7 a.m. and their fumes going right into our bedroom window. And so it made it impossible for us to sleep in from the noise of the fumes. And
that's very hard at rallies to sleep.
It was hard. It was hard to keep and be with your.
It's hard to be chill in the morning when some people just don't mind a generator at all, and some rigs have really quiet generators, but some rigs don't, and those are the people who really should pay the extra money and get the hookups, please.
Yes,
please.
Yes. And I do wish that the more rallies would just have a boondogger, a solar area and a generator dependent area. It would make it so much better and cause so much more happiness for everybody. Lori asked, and I love this question, if we come across your rig and your sign is up, our do not disturb sign, is it okay to leave a bottle of wine at your door? And yes, absolutely.
Yes.
It's always okay to leave a bottle of wine at your door.
It has happened several times. We've almost tripped on bottles of wine, and that's been very nice. And we've also, jumped on people who've been trying to leave bottles of wine and sneak away, and we're like, gotcha.
Yeah, if we are up and dressed and we see someone hanging around the front of our RV, we might come out, but and
if you do that, like, leave your
name,
phone number,
thank you.
your phone number, and like say, hey, we're hanging around at blah blah blah, and love to get together later, and we'll be like, text you, hey, we're free at 7. You want to get back together and help drink this bottle of wine? So, yes, sounds great.
All right. Lori also follows up with the parking being so close. How late does the partying tend to go on? If you're at our place all night.
No, actually, we at rallies often we try to do early nights just because the generator kicking on at 7 a.m. and stuff. Some of the groups, I think, like some of the escapees we heard went to like 3 or 4 in the morning that one night.
I just want to say the escapers very often went to bed early, although we did do a couple late night over the escapers.
Yeah.
But it's not the young people partying.
Sometimes
it's the boomers and the long time is the.
So the retired folks sometimes get to
they're
party energy going. It's actually can be double draining for a lot of the escapers who were either A, managing kids and kid bedtimes and kid wake up times, or B, still trying to get work hours in during the day. There were quite a few escapers at this Escapade who barely came out during the day because they were there for the rally, but they had work days to deal with too.
Yeah, we were managing the Verizon Unlimited Data Plan fiasco with the coverage of it. Not that we can manage the fiasco itself. So we were having to put in. We were tired. We were really tired.
Yeah, it was a lot of.
Okay, hours. Lawrence asks, are there places to lock up bicycles in the shopping and entertainment areas? It really depends upon the facility. Number one, this one in particular, they had a couple of park benches in the common area, parking outside the expo area. It wasn't enough for the number of bicycles that were there.
And we saw most bicycles were being left unlocked at this Escapade in Vermont, and I didn't hear of anybody having any issues. RVers tend to be a very trusting crowd for the most part. Don't take advantage of them.
Alrighty, that seems to be all the questions related to RV rallies. If you do continue to have questions about RV rallies, feel free to continue asking them. I'm going to go ahead and start on the off-topic questions. And thank you so much, Nick, for labeling them that way. That's made it really quickly to prioritize. Todd asks, can you help with the inside temperature monitor systems I can watch on a cell phone?
So you see right here we've got a indoor-outdoor thermometer, and we often set up a little tripod here aiming a cell phone at the indoor-outdoor thermometer. We run an app called Presence that lets us use the camera on the phone to watch it. I know there's other better ways to do that. I've not found one I like.
Yeah, there's another one called Canary, that its own little self-contained unit.
There's SimPal that'll send you text messages when temperatures change, and there's actually a whole bunch of new ones coming out. If I find a great one, I'll spread the word about it. If you know of a great one that I should check out, let me know. I don't. But yeah, right now we make it work with a remote camera that we watch.
All right. Danielle asks, how do we deal with extreme or flash weather?
Flash weather, like the kind of weather you want to go outside and flash in, or?
I think she means flash floods.
Oh, flash floods.
We do try to keep a constant eye on the weather. We have several weather tracking apps on our iPhones. Storm is one of our favorites. We have the one called Weather Radio.
Weather Radio.
That gives us alerts if there is impending.
Storm does all of that too. But yeah, it's I check the weather, I think 3 times a day in general, just the deeper forecasts and stuff, just to know, is there a chance of something happening? And then we just kind of have that in the back of our mind. It's like, hey, there's a storm coming. And usually, weather apps are really good now that you'll know the storm is coming this afternoon. We're going to make sure the house is all battened down. And in general, an RV is designed to go down the road. It's designed to have 70-mile-an-hour winds buffeting against it. So unless the weather is really scary, it's not too much to worry about.
Yeah, but if we were planning to leave soon anyway, and it looks like bad weather's coming, we might leave early. If the weather's looking like, okay, it's just going to be miserable for driving, but it's totally, like there's not predicted tornadoes or heavy hail or something like that, we'll just choose to ride it out. Just remember, an RV, especially a motorhome, is made to ride on interstates and highways at highway speeds, so it's used to 60-70 mile per hour winds.
It might bounce around and shake, but you're generally in a pretty good shape. And
you're probably safer still.
But if you have if you do have a real tornado warning,
get to the laundries.
Get in the solid, secure buildings.
Know what is at your campground for being a tornado. Places that are prone to tornadoes, ask when you check in, what is your tornado safe area, and be prepared to go.
Most places have signs.
We have actually, we did once actually.
Go into the laundry room for a tornado warning, and
All right. So Clay asks, if you guys had a couple of young children, never gonna happen. So this is not.
It's all theoretical here.
What rig would you have if you were full time? That is so hypothetical. I can't even guess. I can't even imagine.
We know people doing it in all types of rig, from raising kids in a camper van.
Right. Mally Mish has got 3 kids in a truck camper.
A truck camper now.
A pop-up truck camper.
Right.
And we know people who won't do it in less than a 45-foot fifth wheel with a loft.
Separate bunk rooms, yeah.
It really depends upon your family, I guess. Get on the Full-Time Families group, fulltimefamilies.com. They were at the Escapers. There's a huge community of families. Interact with them. Yeah. Asking us is like saying I can't even imagine having kids. It's just so outside of our reality that anything I'd say would be...
We're just passing on secondhand information, so we can point you to where to get it firsthand.
Yeah. Okay, Joe asked, are we heading back to Florida for the winter?
Yep.
We will be, we're going to be in Maine through mid-September. We're in New Hampshire right now, so we'll be heading that way, and then we'll be working our way south from there.
We need to be in Florida by November.
Mid-November. We've got a cruise booked with my mom, and then we'll be gearing up for our next adventure. All right. Danielle asked, does my necklace represent the chakras? Very good. Yes, it does.
Yes, got that on our last cruise up to that was in
Saguenay,
Quebec province.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We ever camped in West Virginia?
Yeah, I think we might have done one night in West Virginia.
Yeah, we've done a couple nights in West Virginia. Not many.
We found a campground there. We have done West Virginia, but not a ton of West Virginia experience.
Yeah, there's definitely 10 years on the road. It's amazing the number of places that we've not fully explored yet. Still lots to do.
This is an on-topic question.
Okay, is there Wi-Fi at rallies?
Sometimes, maybe.
So usually there is some Wi-Fi provided in the Central Expo area, or because the vendors need it for doing their credit card transactions, and it's usually sponsored by one of the vendors. To provide it in at least the public area. Don't expect it out at your campsite.
Some depends on what the fairground has. So some fairgrounds have like paid. You can pay for Wi-Fi access and stuff.
Yeah, this fairground did.
Yeah. But it also can be very overloaded because these fairgrounds aren't necessarily geared up for 1,000 RVs with everybody wanting to do Wi-Fi at night. And also the cell towers sometimes aren't up to the challenge either. Like the Escapade last year in Tucson. The Verizon tower there completely melted and died, basically, because there were so many RVers with Verizon that I think it was one of the few places we ever actually tested where Sprint was solidly beating Verizon.
I have heard, I talked with the organizers of Escapade, and a new tower with Verizon has gone in near the Pima County Fairgrounds, so that issue should be solved. But yeah, so sometimes connectivity can be really tough at the rallies. This particular one, the Escapade in Vermont, the Wi-Fi in the coffee area, the breakfast area, and not next to the vendor floor was really ridiculously fast. So it had really great connectivity there.
Verizon was okay cellular wise.
AT&T was rocking it there. Oh my gosh.
Awesome. Verizon was like up and down, up and down. AT&T was awesome, and then there was no Sprint or T-Mobile to be had. So you've got to be prepared for connectivity challenges.
Lori asks, I'm learning to code to bring in a bit of money while full-timing. Have you found that marketable languages are different for nomads?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
We don't do too much coding, so we might not be the best resources on this.
It
really depends. Are you developing your own apps or things to sell and resell, or are you trying to get freelancing contracting work?
Yeah, so it'd be the same stuff for like freelancers, like on Upworks and stuff. There's this web development type things, or things that can be more single contributors, are much more in demand for remote workers. So find languages or find projects that really call to you and dive into them. If you're looking for contract work, that's kind of the places to go.
Go look for what the demand is in the market, and of course follow your interests and skill sets. You're not going to enjoy doing anything that you don't find fun. That's just my modus operandi. Margie asked, does the weather radio app track where you are? And yes, that's one thing I love about it, is you can set it so that it's always looking at your current location and changing your location with you. So it's unlike a traditional weather radio, which you have to go and tune in to your local NOAA station.
So you actually have to look up a FIPS code, which is this really obscure 5-digit code per county, and put that into a really cumbersome UI for all these regular handheld weather alert radios. We have one of those just in case we're someplace where we're not able to get enough cell signal to have an alert on our phones. But that is just so cumbersome to have to enter your location every time you change, and you have to find the county's FIPS code.
Jeff asks, and I actually thought about putting this on our list of rallies, and that's Quartzsite.
Yeah, that's kind of a rally of rallies.
Yeah, Quartzsite is an interesting one. It's not quite a rally, but it's not quite not a rally. So Quartzsite is, if you're not familiar with it, it's in Arizona, and it's at the intersection of I-10 and one of the major routes going from Yuma to Lake Havasu. And it's just become, over the years, it's got a whole bunch of BLM area around it for free boondocking. There's a couple of the LTVAs, which are the ones where you can stay at for up to 6 months if you have one of their permits, or there's a lot of 14-day areas around there for free. And it's just become, there's a huge tent there with a whole bunch of the vendors that you'll see at every other rally.
Yeah, so there's a 10-day long vendor floor. The big tent is 10 days.
Yeah, and then there's also a flea market around it.
That goes forever.
So you get some of the elements of a rally there, that you get the vendors. There might even be a couple seminars that are being held.
But they're held at different places because a lot of groups are having their own rallies next to Quartzsite, or just in conjunction to this.
So like Montana Owners Group might have a big meetup.
The Van Dwellers, the cheap RV living.
The Lazy Days group was there. The Winnie Views had one. There was an egg rally. We had an Escapers rally last year. The Outside Our Bubble folks are hosting a rally every year.
Uberfest, I think they're calling it.
Uberfest, or whatever they call it. So there's all these different ones that you can hop around. So it's kind of like Burning Man in that it's theme camps that you can move around to.
A rally of rallies is kind of what's going.
So you can move around with them. You can kind of have your own place where you're not part of a group, and then just kind of go to the events. A lot of them publish the events on various social media channels. And so it's kind of like a rally, but kind of not. And it's pretty cool because it's going on. It's kind of like a convergence in that it's going on, and there's not a fixed schedule, really. So Quartzsite's really cool. If you've not been, I definitely recommend going and checking it out. Cleve wants to know is, how many rallies do you typically do in a year?
2.
If I had my choice, we'd do none.
Well, yeah, I mean, the big commercially rallies are not our style. We're not probably going to do another FMCA rally. We did one. We don't have a...
Yeah, but per year, we've only done one this year, and that's the Escapade. We did one last year. That was the Escapade.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could kind of sort of think of the Balloon Fiesta as a rally in a sense. And
we'll do maybe a small convergence here and there. We might do a bus rally here in Florida this winter. We tend to minimize them, and if we happen to find out something's happening in an area that we're going through anyway, we might decide to do one last minute.
Our biggest thing is we really are kind of wary of committing way in advance to these things.
All right. Laura asked, have you tried a museum host with Harvest Host? Yes, there are a lot of
done
fun.
2 air museums.
2 air museums.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's quite a few museums listed, and we had a really great experience there. One air museum, they basically let us in after hours into the back lot where all the planes were, and they said, just let yourself out, have fun. We got to wander basically this huge area of all these historic airplanes, just us, for an afternoon, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so definitely. Harvest Host isn't just about wine. You don't have to be a wino like us to enjoy it. They also have farms and air museums. I think there were some maple syrup places up here in Vermont that had
that
it.
was one that looked really neat.
Yeah, so there's a variety of stuff. So you don't have to do the alcohol thing if that's not your thing.
Yep.
Do you consider the RV Tampa show a rally? We've not actually been ourselves, so I can't comment on personal experience. But it's kind of like a rally, but you're not staying on site unless you're involved with the show. So it's an RV show.
Yeah,
it's an RV show, so you get a lot of the same elements. I consider more of a rally as taking the RV show element and
then living there.
But it doesn't matter what you call it. Just go in knowing what to expect and if it's your thing or not. VJM asked, I've heard that the rest stops in Florida are guarded. Do you have information on that? So I lived in Florida when they started putting guards at them because there was a spree of murders that happened along the interstates in Florida sometime back in the 90s. And so, yeah, they did shut down a lot of the rest stops in the area and then put guards on the rest of them. I don't know what the current situation is. We don't do rest stops too often other than 30 minutes for lunch in between.
Yeah. Well, actually, some of the welcome centers and stuff, we have some wonderful overnights at.
Yeah, not in Florida, though.
No, not in Florida,
You're talking about Florida.
Okay. Yeah, but you said in general, we don't do rest stops. We haven't done the Florida rest stops very much.
Yeah. Okay. Lori asks, have we been to Slab City? Yes, we have.
Yeah, Slab City's a neat thing. But go in knowing what to expect and have a good time. It's definitely something to see.
Yep, it is a interesting cross-cultural thing. Blue Moon Explorers want to know if we're doing the balloon rally again. We'll definitely do it again. Not this year. We will be staying East Coast for the foreseeable future as we embark on our new adventures. So that will.
Yep.
So no West Coast stuff for us in the upcoming future.
Yep.
Lawrence says, does your bus or the old Oliver, which is our 17-foot travel trailer that we had, get blown around more on the highway? I'd definitely say the bus, just because it's a big wind sail.
But
you're the driver, so what do I know?
Gosh, I mean, the bus doesn't really get blown around too much now that I'm comfortable with it, at least. Driving across Oklahoma the very first year we got the bus with like constant crosswind, that was really stressful. But now I don't really feel the bus blown around much. It doesn't get blown around by trucks at all.
We've also done a lot of work on the suspension system, put new shocks and tightened up the suspension and things like that.
Yeah,
so.
And mostly it's tightened up the driver, I think.
The driver's gotten used to it. And, and the passenger doesn't eep as much anymore when it happens.
The what got blown around a lot was when we had the little tab, because that was so small and light, and it had a big flat wall, and we were towing it with a small Jeep. So when we had the tab and a truck would go by, it would shake everything around, and that was a little nerve-wracking.
But the Oliver's mounting was very dynamic, and the hitch itself had stability built into it, so it was extremely stable.
Yeah.
The tab actually, once we hydroplaned in, and ended up doing a 360 down an interstate on, so that one got blown around quite a bit. And I'm glad we don't have that anymore. VJM wants to, how do you plan stops between destinations? We look at a map, or we look at a sign that says, "Ooh, rest stop."
Well, actually, our Garmin GPS has a countdown to the next rest area too. So, rest areas I can usually count on being as a safe place to park the bus and take a break, stretch, walk, use the bathroom and stuff. So, I usually know, like, okay, 43 miles to the next rest area. That kind of stop that's how we plan that. A lot of times we plan other stuff in advance.
But our driving days, we tend to not go more than we did 80 miles the other day.
Yeah, about.
We did 80 miles up here. We like to keep it under a couple hours. We might have one pit stop in the middle of the day.
I try to at least break every drive up at least once. That way I can do the secondary half of navigating, check the weather again and everything else, after having gotten halfway there.
But yeah, I mean, if he's feeling the need for a stop, I might look ahead on a map and say, hey, it looks like there's a parking lot up here that we can stop in. But a lot of times it's like, oh, there's a nice pull off, and we take it. We don't. Planning is not something we do too well. Okay. Big Block wants to know, how do you rate your purple mattress? Well, considering we had it picked up about 2 weeks ago, we're going to go with we actually took a video of it in our review of it. I haven't decided if we're going to post it or not, just because I'm not sure I want to become a mattress reviewer online.
But we are on our 4th mattress now. And,
right.
And right now we've got a Helix mattress, and so far...
Loving the Helix so far.
It is very impressive.
The purple has this mesh on top about this tall. Do you still have this stupid little purple thing?
I've got actually even better.
Okay.
This is the same stuff that's in the bed.
This is the
free seat cushion they gave us. So this is what the bed is made out of.
Kind of.
No, this is the same stuff. That's
okay.
the bed.
Okay, so the top of it has this layer on top. And it's got some sort of powder on it, so you don't hear it. But the thing I could not
feel
get
it. It feels like suckers.
I felt in the morning. I woke up. I felt like I was coming out of a waffle maker, and it just. I mean, it was comfortable. It definitely relieved pressure points, but I would wake up in the morning feeling fatigued because I was feeling every single one of these little cells on my body.
Yeah. Didn't like having this as the top layer. It actually works out nicely as a seat cushion. I do give them credit for the seat cushion. Both Kiki and I use this all the time.
So yeah, we just, at the end of our 100 days, while we were taking our little retreat post Escapade, just wrote them an email, and they had it picked up the next day.
And refunded all our money.
Refunded all our money within 24 hours. So we really like this mail order or internet order mattress thing. Because we just...
It gives you a real chance to test and try a mattress. Because a mattress store, you're never going to get a real feel for a mattress.
So we had delivered a Helix, allows you to go in and put in your body dimensions, your preferences, any sleep problems you have, and they custom design you a blended mattress or a split in half mattress if you prefer, if you have two partners that are very different sleep preferences. And so we had them do a blended mattress for us. We've had it now just over 2 weeks, going on 3 weeks, and so far it's my favorite of them all.
Yeah.
We'll see how it holds up. I tend not to like comments on new mattresses until after we've had a month or two on them, because sometimes they just start to fail after you've been
or your body just starts to get used to it or not used to it and stuff. But so far, first impressions of the Helix are very positive.
Andrea asks, are you going up to Thousand Islands? What is Thousand Islands?
Is that a salad dressing?
I'm guessing not if we don't know what it is. We are from here. We're in New Hampshire. We're going to go duck into the White Mountains this week, and then we're going over to Maine. We're going to be staying near China Lake with a very kind blog reader who may be watching. And then we're going to go over to Trenton. We're going to go see, if you follow RV Go, Betsy and Nancy, our friends there. They're camp hosting there for the summer, so we're going to go visit them. And then we somehow miraculously scored a reservation at Shodek Woods, which is the new campground within Acadia National Park, over Labor Day weekend. I don't know how we did it, but we did it. So we're going to go there, and then we'll be turning around south. We have another driveway host that we'll probably be staying with afterwards, and then meeting my mom in Connecticut in late September, and then be meandering our way down to Florida from there.
Yep.
So that's the plans. I don't know if Thousand Islands is along there, then we'll see it. If not, we're not. Can you comment on boondocking at a casino?
Sometimes they pay you.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, we've done some boondocking at casinos. If they're on the route, we're not really big casino people, but some casinos have campgrounds on site. Some charge for it. Some it's just RV parking. Some it's free. Some you go in and when you register with your players to get the player's card, they might give you some cash to play at the slots or in the gambling things. So they're a good option.
In general, I think every casino experience we've had has been pretty positive. It's we're not. A casino is not our destination, so it's not usually the top first thing we think of, but when we run across one on a list of like, oh, that's on our way, and that'd be a good place overnight, and they usually get a decent meal out of it.
Yeah. All right, that is the last question I have on the list.
Dang.
It's right at 1 hour, so I'm going to say that's good.
So that means we're going to end the live.
And so we're going to say, going to get our glass so we can toast.
I thought somebody asked about Kiki, and she didn't make an appearance.
Oh, I don't see any questions.
I saw it on the screen here, and it didn't get copied across.
Oh, Kiki's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, she's yawning right now. She'll show up at the after party.
No after party.
Oh, okay.
We don't know. Well, we don't know. No
Yeah,
announcement
okay.
after party. So anyway, thank you for joining in on our RV. What did we talk about? RV rallies.
RV rallies. You rallied with us.
Next month we might be tackling the topic of RVing in the Northeast.
Yes, and also we're gonna have one soon on lithium too.
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to handle. We're going to do a 5-year update on our lithium batteries. So we spent all today doing a drain test.
Yes,
So
testing,
we'll
draining.
soon be doing something on the lithium batteries. I don't know if it'll be a live cast or pre-recorded. We'll figure it out. But thank you for joining us this evening. And don't forget that tip button. Don't forget the tip button if you would wish to say thank you for the efforts that go into these videos. Thank you.